So this is it. This is a brand new Huawei P10 which was presented here in Barcelona. First, let's have a quick tour around this smartphone. On the front you can see we have a 5.1-inch display which got a bit smaller compared to the Huawei P9 which had a 5.2-inch display. Looking further on at the top, we have an 8-megapixel camera on here which has fixed focus. The P10 Plus, however, has an autofocus camera on top of here, but we will have a look at it in a second. What is really new, though, is the home button right here. This is featuring a fingerprint reader inside here, which used to be on the back of the P series, but now Huawei decided to move it up to the front to, well, probably make it look more like the Galaxy series and the Apple iPhone, I guess, but also because it has made more room to fit a bigger battery inside this beautiful aluminum shell right here. So it definitely makes sense on one side, but others will say, well, these bezels look just a bit too huge. At least that's my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Is it the way to go, or would you say, well, less bezels and more screen, that's the way it should work. On the left side you can see this is the SD card slot and also SIM card slot. You can put up to 256 gigabyte SD cards inside here, and the phone has 64 gigabytes of inbuilt storage already. At the bottom you get a USB Type-C port here, however it's not USB 3.1 but only USB 2.0 high speed. On the left you can see this is a 3.5mm headphone jack. It's nice to see that one in a phone. Probably some of the future phones won't have it anymore. Apple dropped it. Probably Samsung is going to drop it as well. On the right side over here, this is a single speaker. In the P10 you get mono speakers. The P10 Plus, however, uses this array where you have the main speaker here at the bottom, and then the earphone also works as a stereo speaker as well. Some of you may know this technique from the Huawei Mate 9 and of course the P9 Plus. On the right side, what I really like about this phone is this standby button. Just look at it. It's red and it's such a nice little detail over here that I really enjoy. All the phone is black and then you have this nice little touch of color right here, and it also has a different structure compared to the volume keys over here, which makes it feel, you can just feel that this is the standby button, not the other ones. Really nice. Also the build quality is, as you're used from Huawei. It's phenomenal. It's really good. But looking at the back, seriously, I believe this looks like an iPhone. Just look at this antenna band over here. This is just the same shape as on the iPhone 7. And if you cover up the camera, for me at least, with these rounded edges, which don't have this diamond cut as with P9 anymore, this just looks like an iPhone, doesn't it? I mean, come on, guys. Just leave me a comment if you think that this does look like an iPhone 7. Speaking of the cameras over here at the top, you get a 12-megapixel RGB sensor, meaning you can take color photos with it, and an additional 20-megapixel camera which only shoots black and white photos. And these two photos combined give you a lot more contrast, but also the depth information you need to make these shallow depth of field photos, which you can do with this Leica camera. Also, the RGB sensor, the color sensor, is optically stabilized. The monochrome sensor, however, is not. Looking at the front, this is a 5.1-inch panel. This is an IPS screen, not AMOLED. Same on the Plus, not AMOLED, still IPS, but it is very, very beautiful, and it is also bright. I've tested it in the sun of Barcelona, no problems at all to read it in the glaring sun. Viewing angles are great. Color reproduction is natural, just the way you would expect it. It's really good display. However, it is a bit smaller, 5.1 inches, as I said, compared to the 5.2 in the P9. Although the device is more or less the same size, as you can see here. It's almost identical from the side perspective. And also the thickness is also identical. Both almost 7 millimeters thin, 6.97 for the P10, 6.9 something millimeters for the P9. You see there's definitely no difference. So it is quite amazing and stunning that they fitted a huge 3200 milliamp hour battery, which is a bit bigger than the P9, which had a 3000 milliamp hour battery. But yeah, having a look at the front, what you can see here, this is running Android 7.0 with the new Emotion UI 5.1. This is the newest update, and it also has the freshest securities update here from February 2017. Also, you see here, this is running the HiSilicon Kirin 960 SoC, which is one of the fastest SoCs with 8 cores. 4 of them are clocked with 2.4 GHz, and the other 4 cores are clocked with 1.8 GHz. And it also runs with 4 GB of RAM. However, I heard that will be options with up to 6 GB depending on the region. This one has 64 GB of inbuilt storage, of which almost 50 GB are available for the user, so that's definitely good to know if you want to buy an SD card or not. As I have shown you already, there's a new home button or a fingerprint reader down here, and as you can see, you can actually use it as a home button with some very interesting functions. For that, you go into the settings, and this is the regular design or button layout you will get out of the box. These are the typical Android home and back and multitasking buttons, but you can switch them away, so you get more screen real estate and you get some functions on this button over here. So for going back, you just tap it. For going to the home screen, you press it just a bit longer. For the multitasking menu, you just swipe from right to left, as you can see here. And if you want to have Google Now and the Google Assistant, hopefully in the future, which it doesn't get just yet, you just swipe up from the bottom of the screen. What you don't get anymore is the option which you had at the with the P9 series, where you could just swipe down with the fingerprint reader to bring down the notification bar. This doesn't work anymore. This is a bit annoying for me, because then you have to reach all the way to the top of the phone to reach down for the notifications over here. So this is a bit annoying, but I think most of the users will get used to it, and it definitely has some smart features to use more screen real estate. Well, this is almost all. There's just one more thing I would like to show, and this is the highlight. This is the camera. Let's have a look at the rearward facing camera. This is the brand new Leica dual camera, and it has some very nice features. First of all, of course, you get this shallow depth of field where you can set the aperture right here, and you can select the focus after the shot was made. This is nothing new actually. You can also use this mode in the monochrome mode as well, which is really nice because I use the monochrome sensor a lot. Also, if we go back again and disable the monochrome sensor, there's a new option over here. This is the portrait mode. So for this, you can shoot really nice portraits with a very nice and shallow depth of field, and some special settings which Huawei worked on together with Leica to make beautiful portraits with some really nice colors. Let me show you one of them, and to just look at that with some really good lighting. So it definitely works, and I'm very excited to have a look at it in the final review. And of course, there's the front-facing camera, which is the very first Leica front-facing camera, selfie camera. And here you also get this portrait mode, and what is also quite interesting is that this camera actually zooms out if there are more than one person looking at the camera. So it has this kind of intelligence to frame the shot exactly how it would look like, by a professional photographer. So yeah, this is basically it. This is also coming with the Huawei Supercharge charging technology, which pumps up a battery from 0 to 100 in just 90 minutes. It works with 22.5 watts, which is one of the fastest charging systems out there, and it is also quite battery friendly regarding the longevity and durability of